we're recording, and so since I just want everybody to know that we're recording. Okay,
Ready.
awesome. Okay, so it's kind of weird because I'm talking to people that I can't really see. So I'm very excited. We have Mark and Megan who had an idea and decided to go with it and came up with a little thing called Navigate Pain. Now, let me tell everybody what my role has been. It was really, really initial phases. I think I did my normal Perry Brubaker, just get in there and get dirty and don't worry about. I mean, I think I remember Mark having that conversation with you and y'all were telling me all about it and I was like, yeah, let's go, just do it. Yeah. And so that was really, I think, one of the last conversations as far as like logistics about what I knew that you guys were doing. I've been trying to follow you on social media as well as just look at what y'all are doing through the website, and the blogs have been great. I initially knew, just so that everybody knows, it was Mark and Stephen and Stephanie that started the idea, and then Megan came on, so I don't know how that happened. And then I know, Mark, you were telling me that it's kind of even gone in another direction since we last spoke. So all I want you to share with membership is the just the process from idea to where you are now. And I'm going to set my timer so that we don't go over. Um, and then we'll just go from there. So you guys shoot. Tell us tell us about Navigate Pain.
I would love to start the conversation. So many of you know me and know me well. I like doing new things. It keeps me going. It just, it's just the way my brain works is we need to think on ways that we can do things differently, do things better, and do things upstream, which is a word you're going to hear quite a lot about today. So, the idea came out of basically practice for many years, saying that, we wind up seeing many people well into their pain or injury process. And, if we really want to be in the space of prevention and health promotion, what better way to engage with our patients than in the realm of musculoskeletal pain, which is what we have dealt with primarily for many years in our career. And quite honestly, we've done this all with our family members, our friends, our relatives. I have this problem, what should I do?
Yes.
And people that are lucky to have us in their lives, have that availability. They call us, we give them advice, boom. I don't know about you guys, I'm sure you'd say yes, many times that can mitigate a pain process. So I love collaborating. That's kind of my passion, is just working with people. And, I've learned through the years is that, you're only as strong as your team is strong. So I knew that in the beginning, getting people with similar mindsets and ambitions and entrepreneur spirit would be a good way to kind of move this forward, and have different talents, quite honestly, is bring different people to the table. I'm in a business with primarily my physical therapy business with two other partners. That's allowed me to kind of have a different kind of life than if I was to go solo. So I feel like that's the same approach I had with this. Stephen and Stephanie both bring a lot to the table, and we started to have the conversation probably in like November of last year.
Yeah, and what was that? Like, what was it that made you want to do this? Like, what was it that made you want to kind of make this a thing?
Yeah, just knowing that this is where kind of my strengths lie, and we're always like, work on your weaknesses, work on this. But I knew that the MSK, was an area of strength, and I knew that there's a need. We know the chronic pain statistics. We don't have to get into that. We know people are struggling with health and well-being, and in knowing that all of this prevention and health promotion background that we have in APHPT can be utilized with patients who are in pain. And Megan, was brought into the fold a little later in the process, but we knew that if we want to really attack pain, quite honestly, Megan's, I'm a big fan, and she's always just been, just have similar passion, similar ideas that, we have to change the game in the way we're doing things. And we're doing a lot of things well, but we could do a lot of things better. And getting Megan involved was just because we know her, we love her, but she's also just such a game changer in this space. So I feel like she's always been, Marc, we got to get upstream, we got to do this, we got to move. And we were doing the business in a certain way. We were originally.
Yeah, explain that. Explain that to everybody, because I may know a little bit more than everybody else. So explain like what was doing, and then what brought Megan on.
Yeah. So the pilot, began with just getting this out to people, individuals, friends, family, whoever would engage us in using it, marketing it to on Facebook and other avenues, and just seeing, we know it works because we've done it, but now we have to do it, with a paying client and prove, that model works. So we felt like before we could get it to groups, we had to kind of trial it with individuals. So that's where we went first. And again, it was, our business was called Navigate Pain, and that's what we did. And we did a number of consults, each Stephen, Stephanie, and I. And I think, even in the beginning, the goal was, how do we get this to more people? And, when I'm in the clinic, or you're in the clinic, or Terry's working with her clients, it's one-on-one. And that's always been, what we thrive at, many of us, is just that connection, that individual connection. But we know the problem is so massive, and this is, how do we get it to more people? How do we get it to groups? So that was really even from the beginning, was how do we get it to employer-based groups, community groups, any kind of group that's willing to do things a little differently. We want to try this with and improve our value. So Megan came in, I don't know, was it February, I would say? January, February?
Oh, it was, are you speaking to APHBT or?
No, I'm talking about Navigate Pain.
Oh, it's much later than that. That makes me feel good. Maybe that means I had such an impact right away. It seems like
I feel like you have. My time reference point is way off these days. So.
No, believe it or not, Marc, it was actually not really until May of this year is really when it.
But that, I'm sorry to interrupt, but were y'all were you already communicating before then, maybe?
I think we were communicating a little before then.
Okay.
But then the official thing came by.
Because I think that's important for people to know. Like you reach out to somebody that, when you're starting a new idea, you reach out to somebody that you think can offer some help.
Yes.
And they give some help, and then you get that feeling. So I'm just wondering, you get that feeling that, ooh, like Megan, maybe you thought to yourself, I kind of want to be as much involved as I can because I like this idea. And then it's a natural kind of relationship that happens. Can you speak to that?
Yes, I'd love to speak to that. So I do think that timeline, you're right. It wasn't official until May, but yeah, I mean, I'll never forget when I saw those first posts from Marc and you commenting on there too, Perry, like, we're doing this, we're going to go for it. And immediately I had these, it was stirred, those passions, that gut feeling of, and I think I was flirting. I think I commented on there. It was like, hey, you know where to find me. Throwing the feelers out. And, Marc reached out to me. And then actually it was Stephanie Wakeman who texted me directly and said, hey, here's the deal. Like, we think with your background, your passion, your knowledge, you would be such a perfect fit for this. We understand that you may not be able to do quite as much. I knew I was just not going to be in that space to maybe do the actual direct telehealth consults, which we were establishing with the platform. But I knew I had that gut of, if I don't become a part of this, everything I stand for and everything that I live and breathe, I'm not in line almost with my values.
Well, and
And
can I
like,
interrupt
I
you?
have to dive into this somehow.
Yeah, so let's talk woman to woman about that right now, because I think that that goes unnoticed a lot in all professions, and that as women we tell ourselves we have to be all in or we can't be in at all. And I think what I like about our membership is everyone is so talented. We will take whatever you have, particularly if you want to give. And so I think it's just important for people to know that when you have an idea and you have someone who also serves in other roles in her life, I think we forget about this as women professionals, that like you had Stephanie reach out to you who serves other roles in her life as well, say, we want you in some capacity, so y'all are speaking the same language, and you have inside of you a desire to be involved, but you were able to block out the negative thoughts of, I can't do this because my children are this age, or my husband's still activating and drilling. I think that's very important for people to know, Megan. And I think, Marc, to you just bringing the group together, I think it's very important for the person that has the idea to know that when you have a talented person, whatever they can offer, a little bit will get you further along than someone who doesn't have the gifts and they're showing up every day. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Megan, to interrupt. I just really want to point that out, particularly
Yeah.
to other women who may be watching. So yeah, so you came on, I'm sorry, you came on in May, and then what happened with Navigate Pain after that?
So
Yeah, go ahead.
You go ahead. That's okay.
Okay.
You want to finish your thought, and then I'll take off from there.
Yeah. So at that point, I want to get us kind of through that time period, and then I want to give it back to Marc so we can bounce off of each other, kind of bringing it full circle where we're at now. So we, at that time, grew this platform. It was really, when I came on, it was really still this triage mindset, very rooted in addressing pain in particular. Hey, you have an acute pain onset. We want you to come to us first, because the research tells us that majority, if we can give you good self-management skills, things like that. And I knew the thing that I could do best at that time and give of myself was to help drive and guide the content. So really saying, hey, I want to be the content one. And that's where the blog posts came from. And Stephanie Wakeman and I have really been co-collaborating on a lot of them, but really the other thing I want to tell people too is, at first, we can get a little bit into the research. I'm as guilty about this too. So striving to create this content that was going to be really easily digestible and being really mindful of health literacy. Mm-hmm. So trying to make sure that the content that we made was evidence-based. I mean, we had links to the research and the blog posts and everything, but making it so consumable for people, having nice little bullet points, driving home. These are very actionable strategies. And we used all 5 elements. We're trying to cycle through all 5 elements in relationship to pain, because we know that all 5 elements mm-hmm. are interrelated with pain. Mm-hmm. And so that was that pain focus then. And, Marc started touching on this a little bit. So we were a little bit more focused on the individual side, but then we quickly realized, no, we're going to reach more people if we do start to explore that employer-employee space. And that was really important. So starting out with some small companies, getting a contract going, delivering that content routinely for employees, and making that part of it where we're being proactive and starting to really think more upstream. Hey, we're going to get this content out. We're going to get people getting this content, starting to think this way, starting to support people that way. And then I want Marc to kind of take it from there, kind of the rest of the journey to where we are now.
Well, I do have a few questions about that,
Yep.
if I may, just because again, I'm just thinking so that the membership can know, just the process. So you had done you'd done some health literacy and some triage with individuals. And then basically what I'm hearing is you began to think, okay, now that we understand the process, we can scale it. And so a lot of times I think people want to go to scale first, and they need to, and I think the greatest thing that we have as rehab professionals is that we are always working on the individual. And then so we decide, as Megan said, how can we make it digestible so that they don't have to spend 45 minutes with us to get all this health literacy, and then we can get it out to the masses. So, okay, go ahead, Marc. Thank you.
Yeah. So, I'm going to just go back to what you said just about looping Megan in. Stephanie also had assumed a leadership role in another organization as well. So that was another reason Stephanie's like, I can only contribute, a certain amount of time to this project. Do you want me to be involved, or do you, and we were, Stephen and I were clearly like, yes, we still want you to be involved. And that's when, okay, we have some time here we need to, and talent and other things. And that was when, we saw the opportunity to bring Megan in. But I think we all have different skills and different times, but I do think it's a good point, Perry, that there's a lot of barriers that we create when we're starting to think on a business level that we can't do this because of these other commitments. But I think that's just, in a sense, that's mindset, and test that.
I do too. I mean, the APHPT operates every project on, do you want to be involved? And if you don't, it's fine. Do you want to be involved? And time, treasure, or talent, what you got? You know what I mean? I'll take whatever you got for however long you have. I mean, we ran PT Health Study on that premise, and there were people that came in for just a little while in the beginning. But when I think about PT Health Study, I think about all the people that contributed, not the people that stayed the whole time. I think about, because we wouldn't have been able to do that if everybody just wasn't able to give a little bit of their time. And I think about you, Marc, when I think about that project, wherever you were when it started, you gave in this category of what we needed, and then you moved to this category depending on when your structured day changed. And I think the beauty of fundamentally different is that means we do everything fundamentally different. So yeah,
I definitely appreciated that, flexibility, and I think it's something that we all we believe in. And the other thing, and Perry's always been good with me at this, and I have to thank you, is more just struggle with it. Don't come to me with, what I should do is work through your issues, come back to me. And that's kind of what we did, quite honestly, Perry, and we started doing, and realizing, hey, we might not know which direction we're going, but we're going to start here. And that's when, I think talking more with Megan and trying to hash out, what is our elevator pitch? What is our message? And it kept on coming back to this prevention and health promotion and upstream care. And really, again, I'm gonna put to Megan and Stephen and Stephanie that they kept on pushing me when we were creating this content. It was it was, where do you really, how far upstream do we want to get? And that's when we're like, well, we're doing these pain consults. We have all this other talent and information and ways we can help people. And I felt this when I was pitching it to whether it's individuals or groups, was like pain will speak to some of us, but it doesn't speak to everyone. You know, we know it's a major, massive problem with billions of dollars spent every year on pain, opioid addiction, the whole gamut. But I feel like when we started realizing that at the essence of who we are, you know, we're prevention and health promotion specialists. That's what we came to APHBT for. And that's why we collaborate together. That's who we are, that we can't just do pain. Like, and if we really want to do pain well, we've got to do prevention well, and we've got to do the elements well. And that's what we were doing in our content. And that's what we were doing when we would talk to people about pain and do these individual consults. But we're like, well, if we really want to get there, we have to really do health. We have to do health well. And that's where we had the light bulb went off.
Okay.
And we're like, we're really not just navigate pain. We were navigate health.
Okay.
And that's where we said, what does that mean? You know, and we said the same concept that we applied to pain consults, we can apply to health consults. So somebody has an issue with any of the elements, somebody has any kind of health issue, knowing that some things are out of our wheelhouse, like if it's dermatology or certain things, but many things always go back to, you know, the basic elements. So we feel like, why not make that more accessible, just like we want to make pain care more accessible? In a sense, we're doing both.
Right.
So that's where we're like, kind of the light bulb went off, and we said, and maybe, you know, again, speaking to groups, and I've pitched this to a number of employer groups, and that's maybe the missing piece that I feel like we were always like, well, how do we integrate, you know, scissors, and how do we bring it all together? And that's when we realized, again, we're offering 4 things, okay? Basic things. We're offering health literacy, health information as a primary, you know, prevention strategy, okay? We're offering health consults to people that just need a little kickstart. Like, we're not gonna go the whole journey with them, but we're gonna get them moving in the right direction, okay? Same thing with pain consults. That's the third aspect. And finally, if a group really wants to, you know, get upstream and spread health promotion in their business, why not offer scissors to them as well? Because it's what we know well, it's what we've done. And, you know, some people it's going to speak to them, and other people, they may not be ready for that.
Right.
But, you know, I think we just realized we needed to widen our scope, and realize meet people. We always say meet people where they are. So I feel like given this new framework of where we're at, we can do that and do it better. Megan, you want to reflect on that switch as well?
Yeah. So talking to Marc and really coming together as the group in the pitch, I keep coming back to if we're truly being upstream, if we're truly being preventative, one, focusing on all those different areas of health behaviors. But I often like to talk about the fact to people, pain is a message, but it's very, very often the final message. It's that final domino that gets your attention. And I think now we're realizing if we just focus the conversation on overall health, will things happen? Sure. So I think that mindset of pain's always going to happen. You might have that acute injury or something. There's that tipping point. If we are educating on all the different health behaviors, basically you're affecting that person and really reducing that risk of it going on beyond that, you know, going on that persistent. But if we're really doing our job and we're really being upstream, we're going to keep people from having that pain in the first place.
Right.
And we won't even have to have that conversation, and they'll never even know, oh, I was doing this all along, and It was that level of preventative. And I really think that's where we're at. And I just see it as that whole continuum for pain of, you know, going that far upstream, doing all these different things, but then still we want to be there. If pain comes on, let's still look at that organ, you know, essentially creating an organism where it's going to just remain in that acute stage and not be, you know, not go on past that. And so we're doing all of that, and you can just see that continuum. But yeah, I mean, if we have done our jobs well, people will be like, what pain? I'm not having any pain. And we'll be like, exactly.
Yeah. So, okay. So just to kind of wrap up, And because we went over, but I turned off my timer because it's the first one, and I think it's a great example. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I really just want people to understand the process. Like that, number one, Mark, you didn't wake up and you're here now. You know what I mean? Like what I heard is that you went from an idea of how can I create a business around what I do all the time anyway for my friends and family. So that the entry point into the idea was what you did all the time for free that people were very grateful for. It also sounds like after a couple of trials, you figured out that you needed to pivot, as well as bring on another team talent to provide some insights. And then from there, as you guys have morphed the process, you are where you are now, which is Navigate Health. And so, and that's been since your initial idea in November, and here we are, Mark, in what month is it? Almost September. So, like that's really that just gives a really, really realistic view of an idea is an incubation period, you know, which is what we like to provide at the APHPT. So, yeah. Is that correct? Did I get that right?
Yeah, you did. I know, that's a really good summary. I feel like there was always something missing, I felt, from what we were offering. Not that it, again, it's good to be specific, and we know it's good to be specific, but I always felt like in my heart, I felt like there was something that I wasn't doing quite enough of that I wanted to do more of. So that is now that, like, okay, now that we offer these services, anyone at any stage can talk to us. And we feel like so many times such good advice at the right time can mitigate so many problems in health. And we feel really strongly about that. So so I feel like that's kind of where we've come.
So moving forward, what does membership need to know? What do they need to know? Have y'all changed your name? How can they support you? How can they refer to you? What does membership need to know about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, the name has changed, and it's Navigate Health. The website is just navigate-health.com. So you will still come to our website. If you've been to it before, it's not going to look much different right now, but we're in the process of kind of turning that over. The process is not going to change. So the structure of the website is not really going to change, but it's going to share a little bit different message on the website. So we're in the middle of kind of crafting that to reflect what we do. And I feel like the best way members can support us is just follow us on social media. If they have clients that would benefit from talking to someone about health, that I'm sure they're doing if they're part of this organization anyway, but we're here, in that. But I really feel like we all have a network, and we do want to get this to groups. So I would say if you have someone in your network that is in charge of any kind of group that wants to pilot this with us, let us know. And we're willing to do that. We want to get it out, so we want to get feedback, and we're excited with this new pivot. So that's what I would say is we all have our own networks. Just share it with your network, and if you know anybody who's willing to have a conversation over a cup of coffee, we're happy to talk anytime.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would love to give you guys everybody. So don't assume that everybody's doing prevention, health promotion. Like, I was thrilled when you got started because I was like, I'm just going to get in the habit of saying, call this number, because entry point with you may be pain, but then you're bringing them into what I call that health awareness, that it's more than just their pain. And then to be able to just have another group that can do that for me. will be, I think, fabulous. And then you never know, that individual you're talking to could be associated with a major organization. So,
Yeah.
okay.
And one more message, and I'll see if Megan has anything else to close up with. But I would say, like, advice is don't get beaten down by a no. Like,
Yeah.
I can't tell you, how many times I've talked to people about this, and I still know it's a great idea, and I know it needs to get out to more people. But, a no is just no right now. It's not a no forever. And I think we need to get to the right people. And I think that's where we can leverage each other to help each other, is just get this out to more people. Take the at-bats, is what we call them. Like, there's no such thing as a bad at-bat. You get experience. And
Right.
I think we need to stop worrying about failure and just share what our passion, our message is, and find a partner that's willing to
Yes.
collaborate.
Yes. What do you have to add, Megan?
I would just add to that we're still, it's always going to be an incubator. It's always going to be tinkering. That's the way it should be.
Mm-hmm.
It should be playing off of each other. It should be pushing each other, not in a forceful way. Hey, we have these ideas. Let's push each other. Let's tinker together. Let's really think outside the box. Keep evolving. Keep changing. That's where we've had this, recent evolving. And it's always going to evolve. It's always going to change. There's something that's going to come along. Oh, we need to try this. We need to do that. Let's do this. And I think, too, we're exploring other ways to deliver the content. Right now, we're doing it more in blog form. One of the things I know we've talked a ton about is, can we just create really short little snippets for social media, little 30-second videos on Instagram, things like TikTok, like really looking at the landscape and thinking, we need to break outside of some of the traditional boxes too, and deliver this in a way where we're hitting this current generation as well, and really speaking to them and just giving this to them and really helping them run with it. There's that continuum. People sometimes need more touches, but I think we're also recognizing some people just need that one or two touch, maybe something, that little bit of information, and they're going to be able to take that and really start to run with it.
I agree. So I had recently, and I would say earlier in this year, a very brilliant colleague of mine. We were talking about just being on a path, and not really knowing where the path was going to lead you. And she told me something very brilliant. And it seems to me like y'all have done that you walk down a path and there's stones everywhere, and in the beginning you fall over the stones, right? You just land straight on your face, and it's the person that realizes they're still on the right path, and then what happens is you begin to be able to walk around the stones, or at least not trip over them anymore. And then you get up to a certain point in the process that you go, oh, I can step on these stones and it will catapult me into the next direction. And it sounds like y'all have done that process. And then when you get into the next direction, the process starts all over again, right? You fall on your face over the stones, then you navigate them well, and then you're able to step on them. So thank you for sharing all that. I heard all of that in your story, and I hope that anybody else at the APHPT feels inspired by you guys just getting together and trying a little something, So that's great.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks
Thanks,
you guys.
Thanks, Megan. Yeah.